Welcome to Divorce Not Divided. I am Nathan Burkhart.
And I'm Meg Phillips. Thanks for joining in this week. We just had some intense solo episodes.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about you being back in the podcast. I think I was ready for my own little solo thing.
I was going to say, this chair feels like I kind of want Emily there.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm totally kidding.
that could be arranged. I mean,
I think it was fun that you got to do yours in your house.
it was kind of fun to kind of be in my own space. And
Yeah.
I think that was kind of good for me in order to be able to talk without you there or have any other presence or reminder of you. What? That sounds really
my
bad.
God. It sounds pretty awful because I was going to say I felt really like I missed your presence. No,
No.
Should I just make him look really bad now, guys?
Yeah. But long story short, if you haven't seen those last two episodes,
Yep.
This is one of the times that we're actually going to ask that you go back and watch those episodes, the introducing Nathan and the introducing Megan.
Number 9 and number 10. Boop back. Boop, boop, boop. And watch those.
Because most of our podcasts, you can just pick up from any point, I think.
Right.
But for today's episode, it will be helpful to have context on what we said in those other two videos. So do you want to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing today?
Yeah. So Nathan and I thought it would be really valuable that we actually kind of talk with you guys, because what was really cool about these solo episodes was I was not there while Nate was filming with Emily, and he was not here while I was filming with Emily. So what happened is we waited until 7 a.m. on like Monday morning to listen and watch each other's.
Were you more nervous about listening to your own or listening to mine?
Oh, well, you know what I asked for?
What?
I asked for raw audio to hear mine previously, so I listened to mine a lot. So I was not nervous about mine.
I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know I could put in special requests.
Well, you didn't ask.
Don't ask, you don't receive.
That is true. No, because of the nature of mine, I wanted to make sure what I said is what I exactly wanted to say.
Right.
Because I kind of did some heavy hitting topics.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
So, but I wasn't nervous for yours, but I was like, oh my gosh, like, what is this? What is it going to be about? I mean, I know you. I've known you for a while.
I am a very interesting person, I think. No.
You're fascinating. That's accurate.
Yeah. But what was neat is I actually heard some things that I had never heard before in yours. And
Same.
I think that it gave me some interesting perspective. So when we were talking about what we wanted our episode to be, we thought having a reflection where we're in the same room talking about what we heard would be important. And the reason that and why we're linking this into divorce and people rebuilding from conflict or breakups, having conversations about things you hear for the first time is really important. And being able to sit at a table and have a conversation that's based on hearing someone's feelings and hearing their thoughts in a unique perspective and being able to have dialogue is a huge part of all of this.
It's a huge part of co-parenting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge part of, like you said, rebuilding a relationship that's new.
Right.
After something had to be broken down.
Right.
I mean, something comes down, something new goes up. And I'll dive right in.
Okay.
Because yours was first anyway, right?
Sure.
I know you really well. I knew the basic facts. That was not something that was a surprise. What was shocking to me is the way you pieced, and maybe you did this in therapy after, but the way you were able to piece together, because I always knew that you had like not so much a rivalry, that wasn't the right word, but like you always compared yourself to your brothers. I knew that.
Yeah.
Because we would have conversations about that as a couple.
Mm-hmm.
And I held space for it. And I knew that was part of your story. I did not also piece together how much that affected how you interpreted what was happening between us. Mm-hmm. Where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not living up to this standard again.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I'm not meeting this bar, this self-set, but bar again. I'm not enough for her. I'm not this, I'm not that. And how much your past directly would impact that.
Yeah.
And I found myself crying, being like, oh my gosh, I mean, I knew all this about you. And of course, all of that probably flooded you, or did flood you. You said it flooded you. But I think, I was in my own world too at the time. But hearing the way you were able to piece that all together, I held a lot more space for you because I do care so much about you, and just being able to see how that all pieces together and how that affected you was important to hear.
You know, what's neat about doing these podcasts, I actually recommend that if you haven't tried to do a podcast, I think you should. I think it can be extremely therapeutic.
With
and you should use
MED Media.
Yeah, that's what you should do. But like, here's
you
the
really
thing,
should.
Right? So yeah, you piece a lot of this together on your way. But what I like to do sometimes is I run through what I feel like I'm going to try to say in my head sometimes before we go, and I think about what I want to talk about. So I start connecting a lot of dots as we go. When I was in therapy, the only part I actually discovered in therapy with my therapist was that point of me being alone on the baseball field when all my friends were gone. But when I sat down and I thought about why, over time, why I felt so lonely, why I felt like I wasn't living up to a particular bar, all these memories started popping in at the same time.
Ones you hadn't thought of?
Ones I thought of, right. I know. We'll get to that. But then I looked at the common through line and I saw it, and it was very clear. The thing that was unique to think about, I have an incredible mom and dad. My mom and dad let me be who I was growing up. They let me do what I wanted to do. They very much encouraged independence, even from Alex. They never dressed us the same.
Right.
Our names aren't like Alex and Andrew even. It's Alex and Nathan. They were meant to be separated and different. They wanted us to grow together. But naturally, because Alex was my best friend, we had a lot of things that we liked to do in common.
Okay, can I say one of my favorite things to say about twins?
Yeah.
But this is what truly was about you guys. You can dive back in, but I want to just add my piece to this. You always prided or gave credit to your mom ever since I met you in college.
Yeah.
She wants us to be individuals.
Right.
But these two were womb mates.
That's like a mom joke.
I'm a mom!
Yeah.
But they were womb mates. But then they went to college and were actual dorm mates. And then when you left college, we all three were roommates in LA. You didn't stop living with Alex until we got married.
Yeah. It's about 25 years old.
So you prided yourselves to be individuals, and you are. But there still was a very twin connection for a long time.
Being an identical twin is a very special gift. And I talked a little bit with my mom about this, and it's something that not a lot of people know. And I think it's important to say because you're born with your best friend. And I think that is something that a lot of people don't realize. I don't know a world where it's like to not have your best friend with you.
And your best friend looks like you.
Yeah. So when you unpack all of this, there's all these things that at the same time you want. Alex didn't care about being good at sports. That wasn't his thing. I wanted it to be my thing, and I wasn't accepted by that group, right? Which can connect to a lot of stuff, right? I actually know what it's like to not fit in.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I actually know what it's like to fit in because I found that too.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing is, when I looked at and I asked myself that big question about why am I taking this so hard? Why is it so hard for me to be alone? It came back to these memories where I had been rejected by something or by someone.
Right.
And that became incredibly triggering.
Yeah.
Right? And when I sat there and I understood it, it made complete sense to me that would be something that was uncomfortable for me to live in.
Yeah.
And this constant fight to be the best. It's like I like to say, and obviously we talked last time in my podcast about acting. I always say the best actor or actress in the world is probably somebody doing community theater in the middle of Arkansas right now. It's somebody that hasn't done all
Or
this.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, well, fine. But sure. But it's not this person that's done all this training. It's this person that's just doing it out of joy of doing it, and they don't even know that they're so good. The beauty of it is they don't know any better. That's what makes them really good. And how I'm connecting this to what we're at here is sometimes you're just moving and going with the facts, and you're pretending like you're okay because you don't see everything.
Right.
And that's why you can like be so strong. Everyone's like, you're so strong. How are you so strong? It's like, I'm just doing it. But once you start seeing where the holes are, you have this part of you that just burns down, and you feel exposed, and you feel weak, and you feel like that you can't do anything, which is what our divorce did to me.
Right.
Right? It burned the crop.
Yeah.
But what I ended up looking at my life and being like, every single time these little fires happen to me with baseball or not making 6th grade show choir, it made me work harder.
Right.
The one time I didn't win this student speech competition, I had a desire the next time to come back and get a perfect score, and I did. That was just the way I was programmed. But because of all those little fires, I had to be like, this is exactly the same, except it's underneath a massive magnifying glass, and it's much harder to navigate. And I have to give myself so much more grace and so much more room. This isn't something that I can make better overnight.
Right.
I have people come up to me. I've had 3 people come up to me since the coming out episode that have said that this podcast has already made them think about how their relationship with their former spouse needs to function differently, and it's helping them heal.
I've had people, yep.
Yeah, and it's because it's always been this thing where it's not even an option to do that. But the thing is, I said, okay, the relationship is burned down, but let's rebuild the relationship with Megan underneath these new given circumstances stronger. So long-winded answer, I know, but I think if I had to summarize it all in just 2 sentences, I would say I saw what was actually important to me, which was the kids. And I saw the fact that I could actually keep my best friend in all of this as long as I made the adjustments that I needed to make, and I gave myself time to heal.
Right. And, I actually got someone that said to me just today, hey, I see, him holding a lot of space for you, you holding a lot of space for him. I don't know if that's just to make
a show.
Like, I don't know if that's to make the podcast look better or whatever, but I hope it's true because it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I realized that I needed to let our listeners know that we do hold this space for each other.
Yeah.
And this is how we actually communicate. And we do have fights. Oh my gosh, we have fights. We just recently had one. We do.
And we don't talk every day. I think
No.
that some people think that we're calling and texting each other every single day. That doesn't happen.
I mean, unless it's like kid focused, there may be something like, if they're in school, I do see you because I drop them off.
Yeah.
But it's not like we sit down and like.
I don't make you coffee.
No.
And sit down and be like, how's the news today? That doesn't happen. And, and I think that we both understand when the new person eventually comes into our life that's going to change even more.
Yeah,
right?
it's going to ebb and flow and be flexible, and things change, and it's going to be healthy though. But I wanted to confirm, no, we really do hold this space for each other. I think just recently I got frustrated with you. You were frustrated with me. I was frustrated with you. And I just texted to you. I was like, hey, it's nothing you're doing. I'm in such a crabby mood. The way I'm going to respond to you is trash. I'm going to respond when it's not like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you put a thumbs up and I came back and then we talked and it was fine.
Okay. So I've got 2 things that I heard in your podcast that were news to me. And I actually want to know what was really interesting. I'm going to say something really quick here before I say them. This was something that right when the divorce happened, I would have been very angry and sad, and I would have been in a depressive state for a really long time because I would have felt completely lost. But when I heard it, I was actually happy that I had a better understanding about where you are today. And what I loved about that for myself is it told me how much I've actually healed from when we've, like, I'm over you in that capacity, which was really neat to see. You know, and you always say that, but the actual action of it happening is a lot different
When
than
you're
actually
realizing.
trying to convince yourself. So there's two things. One, I had never heard about the little girl with the curls. Ever.
This is the first story?
That
The special
was,
kind of pretty?
I had never heard. I had always assumed that there was a girl that you had a crush on that was your best friend in high school.
That's true.
Right. Right. I always knew about that. I didn't know it started as early as second grade.
Yeah.
So that was one. Two, when you had the experience where it gave you confirmation that you were gay, you falling to your knees happened in my own house and I didn't know.
Well, what was I going to do? Come upstairs
I
and
know.
break your heart?
No, I know. I understand. I understand completely. But what I didn't know was that you had this, you know, overwhelming epiphany and feeling before you decided to come and talk to me about it. So that was news to me, you know, and like for me, it was extremely interesting to see and hear that discovery and what you went through, because it gave me so much more context about how much more thought you probably put into it before you even came and talked to me. I just assumed that you figured it out and then you went and you told me right away. I had no idea that there was a lapse in time of you discovering and then slowly thinking about, how am I going to talk to him about it? How am I going to actually care about his feelings before I talk to him? I never saw any of that, and I never knew about any of that.
Did it help?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt more thought about.
Well, so when you just said like the crops were burned to the ground, right? I did know that would happen, which is why there was that extra layer of, not only am I repressed, if now I figured it out, I have to face all this other stuff. Our kids, what's going to happen with our children? I don't want to ruin their futures and their lives and have a broken home. A lot of it during that time was me not knowing how to tell you the truth, knowing that the truth would only hurt you.
Sure.
Very much.
Yeah.
And I gave you pieces, what I thought you could digest. I didn't know, but I was unprecedented. And it's not like there's a book that's like, okay, when you're coming out to your husband, what do you tell them?
Step one.
Step one, tell them everything or tell them only pieces. I did what a very troubled, confused, and sick mind could only fathom to do, which is to give you what I thought I could give you. But I didn't know how to tell you all that. How do you tell someone? Because I think there's been some comments too on our threads that's like, she knew she was gay.
You don't know her. That's Can I just say that to you? I mean, it's like you're probably some troll that's sitting behind a computer, and it's easy to say that. You don't know her,
Right.
and you don't know me. I mean, like you might come to my defense. You don't know me, and like, thanks, I appreciate it. Thumbs up to you, but you don't really know me, and you don't really know her, and. Like, because if you knew me, if you really knew me and you wanted to support me and be like, oh, poor Nate, I hope he finds someone that loves him, you're actually going to know that you don't do that by burying her into the ground, because I have no interest for you if that's what you're going to do. It's like straight up what you need to understand about me, because if you did that to any of my friends, you wouldn't be part of my life anymore. Because I don't believe in those morals and those values. You can go and have them. Do whatever you want. But if that's what you're going to believe and that's what you're going to do, then I look at that as an attack on her, which is an attack on me and my children. And I would look at it like if that was any of my friends too. Because to me, the world that I want to live is a happy, loving life that is about forgiving people who you feel maybe have wronged you, and understanding that you have also wronged a lot of people yourself. I have wronged people. I have wronged her. I have wronged my friends. I have said crappy things about other people. I have been jealous of other people. I have gone on my own tangents and my own things of like borderline addiction of my own. So for anyone to pretend like they are the perfect human being out there and say that she knew that she was gay and intentionally hurt me is just not being a realistic person. And it's not taking time to understand and get to know people at all. You are living in a world that is about you. Mm-hmm. And I have no problem saying that because I think it needs to be said. Mm.
Well, I agree. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because if you did know me, the whole reason it took extra amount of time to come out was because I was so worried about hurting my best friend. Because when I did find out, I knew the pain that it was going to cause him. So I also want to talk a little bit about, well, first of all, you talked about repression in your own way, realizing things about yourself. Mine was just on a larger scale, like a big part of myself that I didn't understand or know. Right. And in this scenario, in our story, in our journey, I always, for a long time, would say, like, my sadness and pity and heart and like anger would be because I was hurting you, because I was hurting you.
Sure.
Right. I also had to eventually pivot a bit and be like, I think I went through some stuff too.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because of society, people aren't going to give a lot of the people who align with a certain viewpoint, with that evangelical viewpoint, or with that any type of just anti-gay viewpoint.
Yeah.
They're not going to hold space for my story.
Sure.
There will be no empathy for me.
I don't understand why we can't have empathy for everyone.
That's what I would love that. But that I already know, and I knew going into this podcast, that there was going to be a group of people that I will be the villain no matter what we say on this podcast.
Sure.
And that they're going to come at us in the comments, and they're not going to come after you. They'll come after me.
Yeah.
And I kind of mentioned that on my private one. I'm not afraid of that. No. You can come after me. You're not going to hurt me.
Yeah, well, and I used to come after you too. I think that's the thing that I want to be honest about. It's like when you first came out of the closet and you said that we're going to get a divorce because you're gay. There was a lot of me that's like, people are convincing her of this. She is crazy.
She's going through a phase.
I said a lot
confused.
of this stuff, and it's just like through my own learning and my own experiences. I don't love that part of myself, you know. And for me, I think over time, what I really wanted to do, and I challenge you, like if you've gone through a breakup or you've gone through a divorce,
yep,
or you're going through a really tedious time with any sort of friendship that you're in
or relationship, yep.
Take time to sit and think about what that person was trying to tell you and trying to say, and give them the benefit of the doubt. Right. If someone continues to wrong you, sure, yeah, you got to think about if this person's still worth holding the same place in your life, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing is, when you sit there and understand that your divorce or your breakup or your friendship came to an end because the other person was hurting, like you were hurting, like give yourself that grace to go get yourself worked on.
Yes.
And then you can come back and we can talk again.
Yeah.
But like people adjust and people change and people like,
discover
things. Discover. And you know what I want to do, and I want to offer to anyone out there, it's like I want to meet you where you are.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a problem with people who've gotten a divorce, like some people have mentioned to us, they have problems with the fact that we got a divorce. They don't think that was the best thing, regardless of our circumstances.
Yeah.
I would love to talk to you, and I would like to meet you where you are, but I'm going to ask that you meet me where I am too, so we can actually have a really great conversation together, because I think that's what we ended up doing, and that's how we got where we are today.
Dialogue.
It got to a point where I was like, let's sit down and talk, and I know that you're going through a lot, and you're not happy with your life right now, but I'm going to meet you where you are, and you're like, yeah, Nathan, I don't know. Nathan is very angry. And I'll let you talk about what you thought of me during that time. I mean, you probably gave me more grace, but you met me where I am too.
Well,
where I was too.
Remember what you just said is I took time. Once it hit me.
Sure.
I took time to navigate, maybe too much time. But I didn't know what to do. There were so many pieces. Rejection, because of this and that, and losing people and all this kind of stuff that I was so scared. But by the time I took my steps forward, I knew why. I was unshakable because I understood that it was a life or death for me moving forward.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people don't realize, if you were part of those experiences, you would understand what she's saying, because they very much were.
Yeah. The suicidal thoughts and ideations and attempts were there, documented. There, I was death or walk away at that point.
Yeah.
And I knew what anger you were going to experience, because I also acknowledge how it feels so unfair and slighted for me, not knowing all this, but it feels so unfair and slighted that you lost everything you built because I didn't know. Not that it was my fault, but my circumstances caused your loss.
Yeah, and that's what I had felt. I had felt that a bunch of things that I had earned in life and accomplished in life were gone because of this one thing. But
this one thing was that you can't navigate around it in any other way.
Yeah, I know.
But I knew what you were losing. Mm-hmm. I was also losing things, but I had already navigated it was either death or that, So it's like, I'd rather be.
But we didn't lose our kids, right? And that's what we had to look at doing. It's like, how do we provide this incredible life for them still, where they are happy? Like, my kids don't talk bad about their mom at my house. They might talk bad about me at
No. If there's anything, it's stuff because they're already like master manipulators. Like they're already trying to angle for something, and you can see it because they're not that great at it. They're 6 and 8. But like, they'll be like, well, at Dad's house, we really do get this every night. And you're like, okay. Well, and it's not, I don't put them down. I'll just be like, oh, well, I'll call him and talk about that. Dad and I talk a lot. Oh, no, never mind. I mean, like,
yeah.
They can't pull that crap on us.
And that's the thing. It's like, just because you've gotten a divorce and you say that you hate each other doesn't mean that you can't work to not hate each other. Right. I'm not telling you have to love the other person or anything like that. I'm just saying it's like work first on not, if you hate them, if you're like, oh, I hate them, they did X, Y, and Z to me, maybe step one is like, I'm just going to not like them. And then after that, then I'll work towards like, I can tolerate them.
Or like write one thing down that maybe you can understand that their perspective was like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
One thing down. Like, okay, can I take 1 minute to maybe see if I can understand their perspective? Like one thing that might make sense for them.
Yeah.
Because, it took, because I knew all the anger that was coming at me from you, I expected. Like I already prepared for it because I knew it was, and I knew it was valid. That's it. I wasn't mad at his anger towards me because it was valid. I saw what he lost. I saw how it was unfair for you. I knew that. That's why I was so scared to even walk.
Yeah. And I think people should know what happened to me was unfair, but life is unfair. This
but it
stuff
also
happens.
Wasn't purposefully done by me. It's unfair that I had to go through all that too.
Sure.
It just was unfair that this circumstance, which is so personal to me, burnt the crop.
Yeah.
Yours as well. So you moved fast, in my opinion, with shifting your perspective and becoming.
I had people who challenged that perspective.
I know, and I really appreciate them doing that, because with that shift, that was it. There was like just someone that was that could get through, was in the right place at the right time to get through.
It was the perfect person. It was. I believe that God put this person in my life to help me with that.
Yeah,
and for many other reasons too.
Yeah.
And I think that.
But their challenge that they gave you made the biggest shift in our co-parenting
Right.
situation.
I laugh sometimes because I like to think that they made Frankenstein's monster, which is me. It's like and they it probably wasn't even the intention, but this idea of having empathy and love and understanding that you're not condemning and you're not judging another person came from this belief. And it was something that I always believed, or something I always knew, but I didn't believe. Mm-hmm. Right. It's like, if you are, let's say that you're Christian and you believe in this like born again type of thing, mm-hmm. You'll say that there's a moment that someone told me that I'm supposed to like Jesus, but then there's this minute that happens in my life where I know I believe in Jesus and I want to get baptized, right? That's what a lot of people believe who mm-hmm. are Christian, right? And I'm saying that it very much happened. It was like this epiphany moment for me when somebody was talking to me about that, and it made everything very clear that it was a choice, that if I was going to try to hold this resentment or I'm going to try to let it go. And I say try to let it go because letting it go just like that is
not
impossible.
Yeah.
Unless you're, Puff the Magic Dragon or something. I don't know. But like, I think that it's all a process, and you're going to screw up 50,000 times, and you can apologize and try again, I always say if someone's like, well, if you're sorry, then change the behavior. No, I say, if you're sorry, let me see that you're trying to change the behavior.
Right.
Right? Because eventually you're going to get it, but you will mess up many times.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just who we are as people, right? And it's like, you can tell if someone's taking it serious or not because of that.
Right.
We're running low on time, and I know that we want to open it up for a producer question. Did you have anything else to say before I stop? I know
I did. I have one thing I want to dive in and say. I wanted to kind of talk about that, how I viewed, I think that the way when your perspective shifted, because where I was in a situation that, even though I didn't mean it to happen, especially to me, like I was going through hurt and pain, but like it deeply affected you. What I needed from you eventually, and was always hoping I'd eventually get, it just happened really fast and I'm so grateful for it, was that concept of grace, where someone hurts you, whether intentionally or not, and you having the capacity through your own hurt and pain and trauma to extend advocacy and support to me. And you did that. And you do that all the time.
Right.
And that has healed me in more ways than I could say. And that to me is the epitome of the Christ-like behavior that I think people are trying to achieve when they talk about this prophet, right? Yeah. Is this the grace? And so when people talk about, like in the evangelical world or this or that, and they talk about grace, like I'm watching it happen daily in my own life, in a scale that I understand. And I just wanted to give you just like credit and gratitude because
thanks, Meg.
Because I think that's what people are always trying to do. Where can you extend grace to someone even when you're hurting?
Yeah.
Because that's where we're going to find people healing on a level that's going to change the world.
And
it's grace.
And what I want to thank you for is, like, you didn't continue to hurt me. There's a lot of people that get divorced or they break up, and the other person continues to hurt the other person.
Well, I couldn't continue to hurt. The hurt that initially got you was like
you could have hurt me. I mean, you could be hurting me right now by telling the kids what an angry dad they have. You could hurt me by
but that's not even in my nature. I wouldn't even think of it.
But it's something that people, when they go through a divorce, fight through. It's like, again, we talk about fighting for every fork and knife. I mean, you didn't do that, Megan. I mean, you didn't drag us through years of court.
So I think
you didn't do any of that.
So I think there's credit on both accounts where I already foresaw what battlegrounds you were about to go through.
Yeah.
And I knew that with all the pain you were about to go through, why would I ever light another fire?
Yeah. So we can acknowledge that we both hurt each other in all of this. But then we can acknowledge that we both forgave each other for that hurt. And we can both acknowledge that we're trying to do whatever we can to stop hurting the other one. And because of that, we're able to talk today and have a whole podcast about this.
And be divorced.
But not divided. All right, let's go to a producer question really quick because I know we're going long.
Okay. I asked both of you this separately when the solo episodes came out. But I think I want to edit it just a little bit to be, if you could go back and talk to yourself in 2021, what would you say to yourself or the
2022?
other? Oh, 2022. Sorry. What would you say to yourself or the other person that you know now? I mean, there's obviously a lot of things.
What would I say to him? Or
to get
what
through
would I
it.
say to me?
Let's do either or.
Mine's both.
Okay, you go first.
I'm going to keep it real simple. I would say it's going to be okay. It feels like when you're going through it in the moment that it's not. It very much feels like it's not. And it feels like it's going to last forever. It feels like it's going to last for the rest of your life. I was having dinner yesterday with 3 people from my improv group. It was 4 people from my improv group, and 3 of them have gone through divorce. 3 of them. And and that doesn't count me, so 4. Everyone there but 1. So there's 5 people there and 4 of them have gone through divorce. There we go.
We got the math.
I got it. So, and want to know what? We all are working on getting over it, but we were all really happy. And we had gotten past what we had, and we could exchange battle stories and everything. But it's going to be okay. I never thought I would be where I am today when all this was happening in 2021. Never. So I would just look at myself and I'd look at you, say, this is Nathan. I'm from 2025. It's going to be okay.
Well, I think if I were in a fever dream where you came and did that, if you weren't coming at me with a weapon, I'd be like, oh, I think we are going to be okay.
Oh, really? I might be like, I think we're not. I think aliens came down and this is not.
I don't think we're okay.
The body stasher is taking Nathan's body.
All right. What would I say to Meg? Oh, gosh. That's probably something pretty similar. I think I would tell her that everything you're dreaming about is achievable, but you have to take that first step. And it's going to be okay for both you and Nathan and the kids.
Yeah.
And
love that.
I think it'd be similar to Nate too. everything you're scared about is valid, it's valid.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you're hurting right now. I can't wait for you to see who you become, because this journey isn't over, bud.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
we're not dumpster fire people. I mean, yeah, I might be a hot mess, but I'm not a dumpster fire. So
I may be a fire sign.
Yeah. Okay.
But
So
I'm not.
Meg, go ahead.
Come on!
Just go ahead and go before we get into that.
All right. You know what? Maybe you should check us out
Socials.
on our socials.
Yeah, socials. Go.
Okay, so for Instagram, please follow us at Divorce Not Divided Podcast. And then on Facebook, Divorce Not Divided. And then we do have a website called divorcenotdivided.life.
Mm-hmm.
We need you to share, like, and follow all the things. Maybe not, whatever order. Just do them all. You know?
All the things.
All the things.
Okay. So I think that's it. We'll see you next week, everybody. We love you.